It's time to cook with the quarantine chef. Hi guys, tonight we're making a seafood gumbo. Alright, so I've gathered all of my ingredients and I had to thaw my shrimp out, so now I'm going to peel it. Fortunately, they've already been deveined, so I just have to peel. So let's do that. Alright, so the next step is to get started on the okra. And so I'm going to take some vegetable oil, put in my non-stick skillet, heat this up, and I'm going to cook the okra. It says for 25 to 30 minutes. That's a long time. But I'm cooking it until it's no longer slimy, which is the reason I don't like okra, because it's slimy. So I'm definitely going to cook this for the full 30 minutes. So let's put this in. And I don't think I shared what inspired me. I watched the Netflix documentary High on the Hog, and that inspired me to make this dish. They were talking about how okra is such a big deal. And I've tasted okra several times, not a fan of it, but the one okra dish that I like is it's like an okra and tomato stew. It's so good. I've never made it, but it's on my list. But I think I like this gumbo, one, because I'm cooking the slime out of the okra, and two, because it also has tomatoes in it. It's going to have shrimp, sausage, which I forgot in the original picture, the tomato, and crab meat. So I think this is going to be good. Alright, so while the okra is cooking, the instructions tell me to prepare the roux, but I'm going to get started on the vegetables because it's going to be super easy with my handy dandy chopper. I've already washed all of these, so I'm just cutting my bell pepper, cut off the sides, make sure I don't have the seeds, put it in my handy dandy chopper. Phew, that was a tough one. I may need to cut it a little smaller. These are just some strong bell peppers. I needed to cut it smaller. And I'm going to toss these, clean the bowl out. I'm going to toss these in the bowl and just put all my vegetables in here. So when it's time to dump in the gumbo, I can just toss them all in at once. Alright, up next, the celery. Gonna clip the ends. Alright, and the last vegetable is the onion. So this is actually way more than I need for the recipe. So what I'm going to do, just mix this up very well. And then I'm going to take out maybe 2 cups of it, 1 or 2 cups. And then I'll freeze the rest of it until I need it again. Alright, so I've got the vegetables chopped up. Now I'm going to heat some butter in my lovely Dutch oven. I love this thing. And I'm also going to put in this 1/2 cup of oil, which I think that's a full cup, so I only need a 1/2 cup of this oil. And actually, let me go back to the recipe to make sure. Alright, now that the butter is melted, I'm going to add in the flour, and I have to stir this for 30 minutes, making sure that I don't burn this, because the recipe says if I burn this, because this is the roux, this is the base of the recipe, I'll have to start all the way over. So 30 minutes. So I feel like I may have done something wrong because this is more pasty than I think it should be. So let's go back to the recipe and see, while trying not to burn this up in the process. So according to the recipe, I'm on the right track. Looks a little pasty, but we'll see how it turns out. And my arm is already hurt, or my shoulder. So we'll see in about 27 minutes how this goes. Okay, so the okra is finished. I'm going to turn the heat off and take this off of the stove until I'm ready for it later. And the roux is looking better. It's thinning out a bit. Still thick, but not that pasty stuff as it started off. And I think I have about 15 or more minutes to go. So the recipe says to cook this for 30 minutes or until a dark brown color. And I'm wondering if this is dark brown. If this is considered dark brown. I looked at some of the pictures and theirs is a little bit darker, but I don't want to burn this, so I think I'm only going to cook it. I've been gone for about 20 minutes. I may do another 5 and just go 5 minutes shorter than the recipe calls for because I don't want to burn it. Alright, so it's been 30 minutes. I decided to go for the full time, remembering that cooking takes patience. Now it's time to add in the vegetables. This is about 2 cups of the mixture, and I'm going to cook this for 8 minutes. Now, this does not smell good. It's almost like as soon as I put the vegetables in, I started smelling a little burn. So I'm going to turn the heat down and still cook this for the 8 minutes. And I'm only on 2, so it's already low. But we're going with it. Alright, it looks like something's gone wrong, but I'm going to keep going. I'm adding the garlic in, and I'm going to let this cook for 2 minutes. Alright, so this is how it's looking now. Now I'm going to add several things. The tomatoes with all of its juice. The chicken stock. Use all of that. I'm going to drop in 2 bay leaves. Some white pepper. This is my first time using white pepper. I don't know the taste difference between white pepper and black pepper. I'll have to taste it separately. The thyme leaves, Creole seasoning, salt, hot sauce, and I have to add in the okra. I need 2 hands, so I'll be back after I add that. Alright, now that all of that is in there, I've turned the heat up, and now it's time to bring this to a boil, then let it simmer for 45 minutes. So I didn't do it earlier, so I'm going to spend this time now as I'm waiting on that to come to a boil. I'm going to cut up the sausage that I'm going to put in there. And don't worry, my counter's clean. Alright, so I'm going to turn this down, and it says to let it simmer for 45 minutes uncovered. Alright, so it's been 45 minutes. I'm adding in the crab meat. And I'm going to let this cook for about 3 minutes before adding anything else. Alright, so I've added the crab. The next move is to add the shrimp, which I left whole. I probably could have chopped it, but it's okay. I'm going to let this cook for 2 minutes. Alright, so I have everything added. You have your sausage, your shrimp, your crab meat. It looks good. It smells good. And I've already had a little taste. It tastes good. So I'm cooking some Zatarain's rice over here. And as soon as this is done, I'm ready to dig in. Alright, so I was going to wait on the rice so that I could eat it together. But I want some now. I'm hungry. So this is just a gumbo. And it's hearty enough to be a meal by itself. with all the vegetables and the meat. You really could eat it by itself. So here we go. That's good. I'm impressed. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm glad I decided to add the sausage to it. I don't think the crab meat and the shrimp would have been enough. Anyway, I'm going to finish eating. I'll see you guys in the next video.